Greg. Appreciate it. All right, so we've got some questions already sent in to the Q&A, and I will read those off. The first one is for Matt. Matt, what makes your Invinity technology competitive? Why choose Invinity?
Well, it's because the product is so damn good. No, look, the fundamental point that we try and push on is, standardization and modularization, right? We build a highly standardized module in our factory that is 100% functionally complete before it ever leaves our hands. We've got the largest fleet of individual flow batteries ever built, because we've got, 300 or so of those individual modules now out in the field and operational. And that level of standardization allows us to drive, great cost control, great quality control, and allows us to deliver those systems comparatively quickly and efficiently without having to do a lot of work on site. All of those things tied in together, contribute to the overall cost of deploying one of these products. And if you can deliver something in that highly standardized manner, you dramatically decrease the total costs of implementing a system and project like this.
All right, thanks, Matt. Next one is for Salvatore. In the last IFBF, the energy density comparison with lithium-ion battery was made on a plot area basis. Would that not be a better comparison for LDES? Salvatore, you there?
Yeah, I agree. That is a very good comparison.
All right, great. Greg, question for you. What is the status of the PNNL mixed acid IP? Will they license it to anyone, or do they have exclusivity arrangements?
No, it's an exclusive arrangement. It's been licensed to 3 companies, and we're one of the 3 licensees, one of the 3 exclusive worldwide licensees.
Great, and Greg, there's another one here for you in the Q&A. Has the ultra purification cost considered in the electrolyte cost already? I'm not sure what that question is.
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes, this comes up all the time. You can imagine that the big boys out there really shaking our cost models, right? So it comes out to be like $1 per kilowatt hour for processing. It's like inconsequential. Given the alternatives are not pretty, okay, to do it via some alternative method, okay.
Thanks. And one of our panelists raised his hand with a question. Mike Willer, you have a question?
Yes, I do. I was wanting to ask Greg if this mixed battery electrolyte will tolerate higher levels of impurity than the standard sulfate type electrolyte due to, say, increased solubility of impurities.
That's a good question. Right now, what we've seen is that there are various impurity profiles and sensitivities based on whether it's sulfate or chloride. That's all I can say on that. But the beautiful part about what we've developed is we pull all that stuff out. We originally developed this for mixed acid, but then we said, well, why don't we test it for sulfate? And it works. It's just a wonderful serendipitous thing that it works for the sulfate also. So we've got a process really that can produce and ultra purify both sulfate and the advanced chloride electrolytes, which is really a nice, choice to have.
Thanks. Next question is something for any of the panelists to answer, or all the panelists. There is something of a land grab on battery projects happening in the UK at present. This seems to have been encouraged by the fact that the health and safety executive in the UK seems to have no say in the safety of battery projects, treating lithium-ion batteries as essentially passive, quote, articles. What comments do the panelists have about leveling the field on BESS safety?
I can hop in on that, John, and then let others comment. Yeah, land grab, sure. There's a lot of land to be grabbed in our view, and so I'm not
right.
overly concerned with that this pie is going to be sliced up over the next 6 months, and that'll be it. I mean, in terms of the point on safety, I think we have to be a little bit careful in how we present our safety position. You know, we've done a lot of work in some of the regulatory testing to pass tests like, for example, the UL 9540A certification that exists here in North America to prove that level of safety. And I think we need to be, you know, a little bit careful of not ambulance chasing. I mean, every time a lithium battery project goes up in smoke, or I see a picture of one exploding inside a recycling facility, I'm always tempted to blast it out to the world. But you know, I think as an industry, we need to be a little bit careful that we're not, you know, just slinging mud. Look, I think what we've seen in markets that do have a lot of batteries installed, like the U.S., you know, the regulation always follows, you know, the first batch of installs and the first couple of problems with those installs. You know, we're seeing the regulation catching up with, you know, in the U.S. with you know, the safety that is required of these battery systems in general, and of course of ours as well. And I think that the UK is going to see you know, similar regulations come in as the market gets more experience with the technology.
Yeah, my comment is very similar to Matt's. You know, I've been a customer most of my career with the biggest utilities. Customers are smart. Customers are aware of some of the incidences with fires in Arizona and Florida. You know, they know the precautions that they have to take. And there are areas that have passed very strict regulations requirements for fire detection and suppression for lithium ion. So I agree. I mean, there's no need to sling mud. And I don't think that should be the factor as to why flow batteries are the right solution for long duration storage. All these other factors we've all mentioned are gonna weigh out. I mean, it is a fact that lithium ion has had a number of these occurrences, but like I said, customers are smart. They're putting the investment in on the detection and suppression. And there are areas in the US that have actually already passed certain types of evaluation charges on lithium ions. So I think things will play out.
Yeah, I just wanted to add real quick that when you look at these are all purchasing criteria, right? Especially like we're dealing with large OEM strategics, and they have a list, right? They have their tick list, cost, and then durability, safety, right? So, but what's happening over time is especially the durability and safety items are drifting up in the tick list, right? And costs being, you know, coming into parity. Safety has been coming up again and again, and you know, it's causing people to, you know, move it up in their qualification. So.
Great. And Greg, while we got you, the next question is for you. Greg, please name some of the projects you have completed.
Well, the way that we deploy is different, right? So we don't deploy in terms of specific projects per se. With the projects that we're working on right now, we're under confidential, you know, NDAs. We will probably announce them, probably at least 2 of them by the end of the year, maybe the 3rd one by early next year. But they're very large strategic projects, and you know, we just can't talk about. We have done a significant amount of work with Shell in multiple deployments, but you know, we are not deploying to end user. We're in the value chain, so our model is a bit different in that respect.
Thanks, Greg. Next one is also for you, Greg. Are there any hydrochloric VRFB systems commercialized other than Emergy and Electric? Is there any public disclosure on what Ronki in China or Shanghai Energy is utilizing?
Yeah, there are some, yeah, well, there's some that are illegal, right? And some that are probably legal. So that's all I want to say about that. And there are some major projects that have been deployed, obviously, by UET, that they are a licensee, and by another company that is located in Australia. So under license. And there are other sites that are running it, but yeah, the commercialization, this has been a long, tough crawl on this for various reasons. But I think that's changing now as we get adoption, and actually the adoption's much is piling on us right now. So I don't know. Actually, our issue is getting supply up and running, and that's really what we're focused on, and what the DOE is actually focused on. So we hope to get some major support from the DOE to really build up the supply chain for that, so we can fully commercialize this and get this into much larger systems.
All right. Are there any other questions to be added to the Q&A? Participants are not allowed to be speaking here. It just adds to the Q&A. We did have one question in the Q&A that I had to get rid of because of antitrust concerns. So let's see here. Here's another one. Is there any performance criteria available, such as energy density or current density, for your electrolytes? With cost per kilowatt hour paramount, is there any info public regarding rental of the electrolyte?
Well, the part. Okay, is this for anybody to respond to?
It's for anyone, yes.
Well, as far as leasing goes, various companies are putting together leasing programs for that, and that includes us. We're not going to do that ourselves. We're actually going to do that with a financial partner that's interested in this type of opportunity, and that's as far as the leasing goes.
Yeah, I would say whoever asked that question, feel free to reach out to me. We do both. We're clearly, because we're the biggest vanadium supplier, a lease approach is something that we're definitely interested in doing. That's something we are doing. I also kind of wanted to take this few minutes and kind of answer about our commercial deployment. The question that was asked to Greg. We have 3 commercial deployments that have gone very well. We're excited to be about to announce a huge project in Europe that that we are currently signing, and another project on the West Coast with a vertically integrated utility. So I think flow batteries, one thing I'm seeing is there's not going to be a lack of demand. I mean, we're working with many utilities and IPPs to put these on the ground. The challenge for us really is to make sure our factories can keep up with the demand that we're seeing.
Yeah, supply, it's all about supply. Like for us, our Gen 1 is done. We're working on Gen 2. You saw some numbers in some of those graphs I presented, where we're going to be able to jack up the energy density and do an even better job on all the metrics and performance. But quite frankly, Salvatore, you're right. It's all about supply right now. We're working, feverishly to get stuff into production, because that's part of our licensing plan, right? It's only as good as your ability to supply. And we're just a small company, so we're dealing with some large strategics that have, the chemical manufacturing capability, that have the ability to produce large numbers of stacks. And that's just, one solution, because many of the people that are looking at VRFB are thinking, especially internationally, they're thinking of, we want to make it locally, and we enable that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's about out of time, and we answered all the questions that have been posed. So Matt and Salvatore and Greg, thank you all very much. Appreciate your presentations today and answering the questions. We're going to get the slide deck up on the Vanitec website after this, as well as a recording of this. So those who couldn't make it today can still